What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Spin Fuel's Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at Von Vape. So before I get into the review, I do want to give a huge shout out to Josh from Von Vape for approaching me to do this review for them. So thank you very much, Josh, for hooking me up with a few flavors from your line. I really do appreciate it. What we have today is the Black Label e-liquid drip line. It's the Elite drip line. It's relatively new. I did want to show this off to you guys, so make sure you pay attention. I've got 4 flavors for you guys today. First up, we're going to start with Imperial, which is a peach flavor, and as you guys know, I'm a huge peach fan, so this one should be pretty good for me. So let's get right down into it, and first flavor we got loaded up in our flavor review setup, which is the Kanger Subtank Nano on top of the Ego 1 battery. You got a fresh coil in here. We're all wicked up and ready to go, so let's give this one a try. So as I just said, this is supposed to be their drip line, but I find that they do work really well in tanks, especially sub-ohm tanks like this one right here. It's pretty thick e-liquid. I'm guessing there is some PG in there, but it doesn't list on their website what the concentration of PG is. But I'm guessing it's going to be around 70-30 to 80-20. It's rather thick, so that's a pretty good guess, I think. But let's, as for the flavor itself, it's pretty decent. It's a really basic peach flavor. It's not like a specialty kind of peach cream or peach rings or something like that. It's just peach. It's a nice ripe peach flavor. It's pretty good, but it's not my favorite peach of all time, for that's for sure. Let's go ahead and have a real quick another vape here. Not my favorite peach flavor of all time, that's for sure. It kind of brings me back to when I was vaping on just standard single flavor e-liquids, like way back in the day when you could only get strawberry or peach or blueberry or whatever. Nowadays you have all these artisan craft e-liquids that have all these different flavors mixed in with them. You know I'm a big peach fan, and this one definitely is a decent peach flavor, but it just kind of leaves me wanting a little bit more. I wish there was something else in there that made it a little bit better. So one more vape and I'll get to my ratings. So as for my ratings on this one, for the flavor, I'll give this a 3. Not the greatest peach in the world. If you want a peach vape that's very plain and simple, straight down to earth peach, this is going to be the one for you. But for me personally, I feel like they could have done a lot more with this one and really expanded upon that peach flavor. As for the vapor production, I'm going to give this one a 4.5. Really doesn't leave you wanting any more vapor production, and I can definitely attribute that to the higher amount of VG. As with most liquids nowadays, you find a lot of things with 70-30, 80-20, or max VG, whatever the concentration the manufacturer can possibly put of VG. They're going to put the maximum amount in there. And as I said before, I'm not really sure the actual ratio, but it's pretty thick, and it definitely produces the vapor production that you're looking for. As for the throat hit, this is all 3 milligram liquid, and it's pretty spot on, so I'm going to give it a 4. Really doesn't, affect my throat at all. It's maybe a little lighter than a normal 3 milligram, but anyways, that does it for Imperial. Let's move on to our next flavor. Alright guys, we're back, and the next flavor I have for you today is going to be Royal. This one is described as the original Twizzlers, perfect blend of sweet and tart strawberries and cherries with just the right amount of raspberry twisted together flawlessly. Bold flavor and bouquet of this e-liquid bring back the innocent pleasure and experience of the candy, minus the calories and cavities. So, it's a Twizzlers flavor. Haven't been impressed with any sort of Twizzler flavor to date. Let's see how this one is right now. Let's have a vape. So you know what? I'm pleased to say that this is probably the best red licorice flavor I've tried to date so far. Honestly, I've never been a huge fan before, but this one right here has that nice strawberry flavor. You get the cherry in there as well. The raspberry is a little hidden and in the background, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. I think it's more or less like a red vines flavor, red licorice, kind of a generic red licorice that you find at the checkout at the pharmacy or something like that, rather than a Twizzler flavor. I don't think you can really recreate the Twizzler flavor because it's so specific. But as for a red licorice, this is probably my favorite so far. So let's have another vape and I'll get to my ratings. Alright guys, so for the flavor on this one, I'm going to give it a 4.5. For a Twizzler flavor, I think this one is as close as you can really get without, putting too much of one flavor in there. For the vapor production, 4.5, and I think it's going to be the same across the board. These do create a lot of vapor, and I think you'll be happy with that. And as for the throat hit, I'm going to give it a 4. Pretty spot on throat hit, nothing too harsh, nothing too weak. I think it's good for a 3 milligram, and it's pretty smooth considering the higher amount of VG. So that does it for Royal. Let's move on to our next flavor. Alright, we're all primed up and ready to go for our next flavor, which is going to be Noble. Noble is a balanced blend of crisp, tart lemons muddled with refreshing, perfectly ripe, sweet strawberries right from the field. You will appreciate the careful balance of the sweet yet tart flavor and bouquet as you enjoy this delicious, refreshing drink. Of course, you can savor and relive the fun long after summer is gone. So it's almost autumn here in New England, and I'm kind of trying to live out the rest of the summer and remember this summer because it was pretty sweet. So let's remember it with this one right here, a nice refreshing strawberry lemonade. So let's have a quick vape. So once again, I'm actually quite surprised about how good this one is. I was really not expecting much. I've tried several different lemonade flavors, strawberry lemonades, pink lemonades, all that stuff, and so far I've yet to find a decent mix of the actual strawberry flavor with the lemonade flavor, and this is definitely doing it for me personally. If you're a strawberry lemonade fan, I think you'll enjoy this one. In my opinion, I think it would work better on a slightly cooler build or a cooler vape, especially with like temp control or something like that. I think you might enjoy this one a little bit better if it's a little bit cooler. On a hot vape, I don't think pink lemonade or strawberry lemonade quite works. One thing that kind of worries me a little bit is the actual color. It does have a pinkish hue to it. I'm not sure if they use any natural extracts or natural flavorings in there. Sometimes natural extracts can have a pinkish hue to them, so that's why a lot of the strawberries and stuff like that come with a little extra red in them. But this one is a slightly, pinkish hue, so maybe that's it. I'm not quite sure, but I just wanted to show you guys that just for your own reference point. But back to the flavor. The flavor is sweet and refreshing, and I'm really enjoying it. I think if I vape this in the middle of winter, it would bring me right back to this summer and remembering this review. So pleasantly surprised by this one once again. Let's have another vape and I'll get to my ratings. Alright, so for the flavor on this one, I'm actually going to give this a 4. It's a pretty decent mix of the strawberry with the lemonade, and it's just as it described in the flavor description on their website. So, yeah, I really like this flavor. I really recommend you try this one out if you get a chance to. For the vapor production, I'm going to give it a 4.5, right up there with the rest of them. Definitely good vapor clouds with this. And for the throat hit, I'm actually going to drop this one down to about a 3. I feel like the lemonade flavor in there gives me a little bit of extra kick in the back of my throat. Not that that's any fault of the nicotine per se, but it's really just the lemon flavor in it. So if this one, it might be a little bit harsher for you people that use a 3 milligram, but just let that be known. I still recommend you try it, so make sure you go check this one out if you get the opportunity to do so. So that does it for Noble. Let's move on to our final flavor. And for our final flavor today, we have Kingly. Kingly is rich in flavor and bouquet. It is perfectly balanced blend of fresh scraped vanilla bean, bourbon, and smooth, creamy, salty, natural caramel with just a touch of smoky oak. The simplicity that creates perfection here cannot be overstated. Kingly has become a fan favorite, not too sweet, and one we dare say is possibly one of the best e-liquids created. Now that is a bold statement, especially coming up against the other, vanilla, bourbon kind of craft flavors that are out there on the market today. But let's give it a try and let's see what I feel about this one. So before I touch on the flavor whatsoever, I do want to note that this one is probably going to be the worst offender as far as a cotton killer is concerned. This stuff is a pretty dark shade of brown, and you don't really see that too often unless there's a lot of sweetener in something, or possibly, natural flavorings again, or maybe the nicotine just kind of doesn't mix well with the flavorings or something like that. The taste-wise, though, it is fresh and clean. There's no weird taste to it whatsoever. Do I think this is as described, as complex as described? Probably not. What I get out of it is a pretty basic vanilla flavor with a nice caramel flavor as well. I would have really liked to see maybe more of like a cream base to this or something like that. Something maybe like a vanilla ice cream with the caramel sauce on top. But they went for a completely different route with this one. They went for more oaky, more earthy flavor, which is kind of what it is. For me personally, not the biggest fan. I've never been really an earthy fan or, that desserty kind of vape, which is pretty much what this one is here. Do I think it would pair nicely with, a nice glass of bourbon? Probably. For anyone out there that likes to pair their food or drink with an e-liquid, this one might be up for consideration for that. The flavor itself, though, is pretty good. Not the biggest fan for me personally, but I think you guys would really enjoy it if you like a vanilla bourbon caramel flavor. The caramel is almost like a caramelized kind of creme brulee almost flavor. It kind of has that burnt sugar almost. Interesting. It's very interesting. Let's have another vape and I'll get to my ratings. Alright, so for the flavor on this one, I'm going to give this a 3.5. I really think they tried hard to perfect this one, and I think that they really took their time and really crafted this one well. But for me personally, it's not a big favorite. I really like the rest of the line way more than I like this one. But for those of you out there that are bourbon drinkers or anything like that, I would suggest trying this one with a nice oaky bourbon. Is it worth a shot? Absolutely. I definitely think it's worth the money for these bottles. For the vapor production, 4.5, just like the rest of them. Decent vapor production with this e-liquid, especially with the high VG. And finally, with the throat hit, this one's pretty spot on, so I'll give it a 4. Nothing too harsh in this, nothing too light, just right where I want it to be. So pretty well done all the way around. As for the entire Von Vape Elite Drip line that they sent me this a while ago, so on the website that I read the flavor descriptions off of, they do change the names from vanilla and caramel to kingly and peach and all that, red licorice, strawberry lemonade. So they kind of bumped up their marketing strategy a little bit, and I think that's kind of par for the course as far as this industry is going right now. Do they live up to their names and their flavor descriptions? Not quite. They're almost there. They have kind of a basic flavor range, but the flavors that I did receive are pretty good, and I do recommend you try them out for yourselves. I'm not sure the exact MSRP on these. I'm going to guess it's around $13, which is pretty status quo for any 15 ml bottles, and for probably $22 for a 30 ml, which is pretty normal for everything nowadays in this industry. My favorite was probably the strawberry lemonade with the red licorice coming in a close second. Peach was kind of my third favorite, and the only reason it's not last is because I'm just really not the vanilla caramel bourbon whatever flavor fan. So I was a little disappointed with the peach flavor. I do highly recommend the strawberry lemonade and the red licorice flavors, though. Those were my top 2 favorites. And if you want to check those out for yourself, make sure you check out the link in the description. I'll have it all there for you. So that about does it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, hit that like button down there and subscribe for more of my content. Don't forget to leave a comment below on what you think your favorite flavor would be out of this line, or if you like to pair a flavor with food or drink, or if you have flavors that really remind you of a certain season like the strawberry lemonade. As always, check out spinfuel.com for lots more of my videos, as well as Smoke and Joey and Spin Fuel videos. And as always, vape on.